All right, guys. Okay, so welcome to class. Today we're going to be going over a few things. This video will have some checkpoints where you need to answer some questions, and you should be able to get points for watching today's lecture. So you need to make sure you do that on your own. Okay, so let me see if it'll stay open oh, good. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a few slides with you guys really quick. You guys are my captive audience, so I should be able to get through this pretty fast. All right, so I'm just going to cover this for about, 10 or so minutes, and then we're going to watch some videos, and we're going to do some stuff together. You do need to memorize a few things for the end of the year state test, which, again, hopefully the GIM kits are helping you with. But there are three main economic systems: command, market, and mixed. Let's move my little thing over here. Okay, command, market, and mixed economies. In a command economy, the government pretty much commands everything. It's like fixed. It's not really like that they command it, but they're in charge of prices with a lot of things when you go to buy it, like at the store and stuff. In a market or like a free market economy, it's prices are determined by unrestricted competition. So that freedom between privately owned businesses, kind of like if you can make it and you can sell it, you can determine what price you're going to set it at. And for the most part in the United States, with most industries, we do have a free market economy. They did take off the name free in it, which is kind of weird because I grew up with it being called a free market economy. Now they just call it a market economy, which kind of makes sense. There's also a mixed market economy, which is combining private and public enterprise, so that just kind of makes sense. Let's move on. Okay, an economy needs to answer these three basic questions. What to produce, how to produce what to produce, how to produce, and how to distribute it. So it's not just an economy, but like a company, for instance. In entrepreneurship, you need to know how the economy works, and that our economy is pretty much just a bunch of entrepreneurs and businesses and corporations all trying to make money and make things work, live the American dream. And so individually, you need to answer these questions, but as an economy, there's certain economies that are known for producing things better than other economies. Some places make and import a lot of fruits, and there's other places that import a lot of textiles and jewelry items and things like that. The United States used to be known for a lot of industrial labor and stuff, and like cars and things like that, but now we're mostly known, well, I don't know, things are kind of switching and kind of changing around the last few years, but we were mainly known for like our intellectual skills that we were bringing to the workforce and to companies throughout the not just the United States, but throughout the whole world. But again, we still do need to make things as well. All right, a country's economy is based on its ability to satisfy its people's needs and wants. So same like just a giant business, pretty much. Okay, economic terms that affect business decision making. All right, these are the terms. I don't love the way these things are organized, but it's what's going to help you guys the most on the test. So you need to know that wants and needs are satisfied by businesses in a free market. Wants and needs are not always satisfied in the other forms of like economic systems. So in a free market society, the wants and needs are always, they should be satisfied. But you also need to know the terms scarcity, opportunity cost, and business life cycle, which we're going to get into. All right, so most of my classes we covered supply and demand, even just like at a surface level. But if you can get a really solid surface level understanding of supply and demand, you'll be golden. First off, we want to start out with our supply line and just look at this. Just a quick reminder that sorry, my dog is. We have our x-axis and our y-axis. On the y-axis here, we have our price. And on the x-axis, we have our quantity. So it's kind of just saying, here at the bottom is 0 for either direction. You know how most axes work. But as we move away from that bottom left-hand corner of it, the amount increases for both price and quantity. So as a supplier or somebody providing the goods and services, I'm willing to provide more quantity if I can charge a higher price and I can make more profit, essentially. The reverse is true for those of us, you know, if you're in a purchaser mindset or a demand mindset, where when the price is really high, we don't want very much, as far as like, we're not going to be buying as many things or even anything from certain people, right? So if the price is too high, the economy as a whole is going to demand less. But as price decreases, we tend to demand more quantity. Okay, so when we have our supply curve, it goes from bottom left to top right. We put that on there, and then we overlap that with our demand curve going from top left to bottom right. When those intersect, the middle of that is called the equilibrium. But let's pretend we have these dots. Let's pretend that originally the quantity demanded was over here at these this faded dotted line. If there's what's called like a shifter, something that shifts our demand curve up, for instance, like, I don't know why, but COVID shifted the demand curve up for toilet paper and weird crap. So we would have had our old equilibrium price right here. And we have this P here where this is saying this was the amount provided at a certain price for that equilibrium point. So you can't just magically make more supply like that. Like, it doesn't happen. So the suppliers are planning on a certain forecasted amount that they have created. And so if you have a shift in demand where now people are willing to demand more, and even at that higher price and stuff, they're willing to demand more even at the same price. They're like, we have all these people that are willing to demand more. This huge difference in quantity demanded from here to here. That's a shortage. Everything in there means a shortage, because this is the amount of people they could have sold to. They could have sold this much more quantity technically at that price if they had that quantity. But since they don't have that quantity available, they could, again, if they were able to continue with their curve and produce at a specific rate, because the toilet paper plants, for instance, can only make so much per hour and produce it so fast, they could potentially meet that new equilibrium price, possibly. But no matter how you look at it, there is going to be a shortage, or what we call scarcity. So scarcity is the state of being scarce or in short supply. Yeah, we're going to come back to supply and demand later, but I like to cover it just a little bit at a time so it's not super scary. Right, let's move on. Ooh, my favorite. I love talking about opportunity cost because it is super useful, guys, to understand this concept. I know a lot of you guys probably already understand it at the surface level. So like, if you have $100, you have to choose what you're going to do with that $100. You could buy new shoes, or you could invest it like at 5% or something. The initial like glance at that opportunity cost is that if you spend your $100 on shoes, it's going to cost you $5. How do you get the 5? Because that $100 invested at 5%, you still have the $100, plus you have 5% of $100, which is $5, right? And so this $100, assuming your shoes keep their value, which they don't really, but let's pretend these shoes are worth $100. The opportunity cost isn't the $100. The opportunity cost is what that $100 could have done for you if you spent it elsewhere. Some of you guys would take your $100 and go buy, I don't know, a vacuum cleaner and go start a cleaning service. And with that $100 and purchasing that vacuum cleaner, you could have went and made $1,000. And instead of spending that $100 on shoes, that purchase could now cost you essentially $1,000 because of what you could have done with that money instead. So you really need to think about all of the possibilities and compare your decisions with kind of a typical mindset and an optimistic business mindset, and compare and contrast the two to really determine your opportunity cost. For instance, you might be invited to go on a school trip, but if you go on that school trip, you might miss work for a week and lose, your $800 paycheck for that week. I don't know how much you guys make. So you might miss that $800. So it's like not even just, how to put it, you don't just calculate your opportunity cost from money. You can calculate your opportunity cost from time, or for any opportunity you make. What could you have done differently with that time? What could you have done differently with that money? And what did it cost you? And we always calculate the monetary value, but there can be other value as well. Again, time is just a huge one. So if you go on that field trip, it's going to cost you the opportunity cost of the lost wages at work. It might also cost an initial price of maybe you have to pay a couple $100 to go on the trip. So now you've got that missed $700 or $800, and then a couple $100 to go. But it's not just that couple $100. It's what you could have done with that couple $100 and what you could have done with that $700 or $800 paycheck. Now that opportunity cost, you can compound that and really decide, what is this costing you? You also have to flip it and look at the infinite possibilities, because maybe you could have gone and you could have won an award at that field trip. And you could have won $5,000 if you would have gone with your friends to do the competition that, you had the opportunity to do. You could have met people that could have been your potential employer. So not all opportunity cost is fully calculatable, but it is definitely something I want you guys to think about before you spend any money anywhere. It's like, I could spend this $1 on this soda. Will it keep its value? No. If it doesn't really keep its value and it didn't really provide you with that dollar's worth of benefit and it's just gone, it not only costed you that dollar, but it cost you that dollar plus how much that dollar could have made you if you spent it or you invested it into something better or wiser. Okay, that actually happened to me, the field trip experience, by the way. I chose not to go because my professor invited me to go, and I put it in a spreadsheet, and I calculated that going would cost me about $2,800 between missing work, the fee, the flight ticket, everything that I'd have to pay to go, and also what I would have done with the money that I would have gotten from work. But then my friends went, and I would have been competing with them, and they won a bunch of money, and I was a little jealous that I didn't go because it was something I did not foresee. Anyways, a little jealous on that. And then they ended up meeting some people that actually ended up reimbursing all of their costs for their plane tickets and hotels and stuff. It was amazing. All right, let's see. A lot of companies have to think about, do they want to spend this $100 to pay their employees, or do they want to use this $100 to try to make more money? And so that's kind of the big decision. I think employees should be paid more, but also as someone who wants to keep your company running well, it is kind of a hard decision because you have to decide to, keep your company from going bankrupt, and you've got to keep it so that it's running well and paying people properly and continuing their jobs. So it's really easy to justify spending that money into your own business for new products, replacing equipment, paying dividends to your shareholders and stuff like that to keep people happy so that your company can continue to run. Because if you don't have that money when you need it, that cost is a little bit there. It's kind of a little bit, how do I put it? Not cool to not have money when you need it. Yeah, money and time. Random fun fact is that people in general make about 2,000 decisions an hour. Another fun fact is I was reading a study that said teachers make, I think it was about 4 times the amount of decisions per hour as a regular person does. during teaching time, and then even still more after. So if I seem a little fried, because it's called decision fatigue, it happens. Okay. All right. So there's something called the business life cycle. This is the business life cycle. You end up having, when you start a new business, you go through a few like phases. And when you like sell a product, or you put a product out there, you're going to have an introduction stage where you're going to have low sales. The costs to start up are going to be high, and you're going to have really little to no profits. So the number of sales isn't the highest. Sales is on the, oh, why did I click that? Okay, sales is up here on this axis, and then we have time over here on this axis. So as time goes on, we are hoping, again, that your business follows a typical business life cycle where the sales will go up. After that, we have a pretty steep incline growth stage where you have increasing sales, reduced costs, you're starting to get some profits. Maturity stage is when you have consistent sales. Your costs are essentially reduced, and your profits are really, you're seeing those and they're increasing. Then you start to enter into a decline stage, which is where you have reducing sales. Your costs are staying constant because you've got like an established business, and your profits are being reduced because your sales are going down. The trick here is how to keep your company in a perpetual maturity or growth phase to try to avoid or prolong that decline stage. Because if you can go back into a life cycle extension. It will just keep going up and up and up. And that's kind of like what we see in companies like Apple, where they will release like an iPhone, and it will go through an introduction, growth, maturity stage. And then right about the time it starts hitting a decline, they come up with a new upgrade or a better phone or something. And so they just keep you coming back for more and more, and it keeps going through that pattern, which is actually really wise. Don't love it though, because I would love to be able to use my devices a little longer with any company, not just like Apple stuff. I don't really love Apple. Okay, there's also another cycle called the economic or GDP for gross domestic product cycle. It's for like the whole economy and how much money they're bringing in and how the economy is doing as a whole. You end up having what's called, well, we could probably start like right over here. So you have like prosperity or inflation right here. And I don't like using the words prosperity and inflation together because I absolutely hate inflation. But and then you end up getting a boom where your economy is doing fantastic. It's like everything's going good, and then it'll go down as far as like the business activities go as a whole. It'll go into what's called a recession, which we kind of saw in 2008. A lot of people were trying to kind of like keep a depression from coming. A lot of people say we're in one right now, but I don't even know. It's our economy is just so wild. I don't know if we're just like right here or down here or starting to come back up here. I don't really know where we're at, but yeah, this is typical for it to go through a boom, a recession, a depression that has some deflation in here, and then it goes up and down. I feel like this is actually backwards, because in a depression, when we're talking about inflation with money, usually money is actually inflated during like a depression. Hopefully you want it to like deflate so that you can go back up to recovery. But it is kind of true that inflation does lead eventually to a recession. So it's like, depends on how long you're looking at it. There's a lot of different charts in business, and I do believe that this one is more focused on like the inflation of business activities and the deflation of business activities, not money itself. Because again, you would usually see an inflation of money somewhere around a recession to depression phase, and then hopefully things stabilizing out again here. But we don't really, I can't think of a time where in the history of our country where we've had like inflation and then it's come back down. It's always as far as money goes. So let's just focus on this chart as being an inflation and a deflation for business activity. Yeah. Anyways, you guys get the point. Boom, recession, depression, recovery, inflation, boom, recession, depression, recovery, inflation, just going over and over again. It is good to know that during a boom, there's overemployment. And then as we go into a depression, it is underemployment. Like, not, like people can't get jobs. I think we're somewhere in here right now, to be honest, because we went through a while there where there was like overemployment, which was kind of weird because we had a lot of people quit because of COVID. And, but also there was a lot of companies shutting down. So our whole economy is just not following the typical patterns that it normally does, but it's what we got to teach you. So maybe you guys can make something new. Okay, this is another cycle. So in business, they really love the curves and the cycles. An adoption life cycle, I actually like this one. This is one of my favorite curves that they taught us in business. Anyways, when you're inventing a new product and you're getting a product out there, you have your innovators who, like, how do I put it? Let me rewind. When you go to sell a product, it's not going to immediately have a ton of sales. Kind of like this, it's not going to have a lot of sales. So the people that are like buying it during this introduction stage, they're going to be those innovators. These people that are like, ooh, what's the newest thing? I want to know about the coolest new invention because I want to implement that into my house. I'm kind of an innovator with some of these things because I'm just like super excited about cool new things that solve problems. And so I'm a little bit, oops, went too far the other direction. Then you have the growth stage, and that's where you would have the early adopters to the early majority. These, again, people are, what does the chasm mean? I think that's if you can get past this, then you're good. But a lot of people just kind of get a few sales and then kind of taper off. So if you can get past this area here of early adopters, your company should be good. Anyway, so you have the early majority. Again, that's a pretty big percentage. So 34% of people will purchase your product during this phase. Kind of after they've been like, oh, hey, it's cool. We have some innovators and early adopters that have gone and done like video, like reels and like product testing videos and stuff. And they've been like, hey, this is super awesome. Go out and buy it. We're like, what is this? Is it good? Is it not? They give good feedback. And then you end up having the early majority go out and buy it. And then, you know, you kind of have the late majority that are like, maybe it took them a little bit longer to see the videos. And they're like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. All my friends have that new phone. I want to go get that new phone. I'm going to go get it. But they weren't like the newer, like they weren't the first ones to the party. And then over here you have the laggards. I'm either an innovator or I'm a laggard. There's certain technology that I just really don't want to conform to because it's like everyone's doing it, and I feel like there's some sort of ethical or an issue with the principle of the company or something there, and I will be a laggard, but eventually a lot of times I will conform with certain things because it's like everybody is using this. I need this tool to communicate with them properly. Fine, I'll go get it. What usually ends up happening is I'll be a laggard and discover I love a new product or a new flavor of something and be like, this is amazing. And then, you know, because the business is in the decline stage and I'm a laggard with some of the stuff, then that's where you get products that are discontinued. And it's super sad because if I would have been like earlier to the scene, maybe I could have kept it single-handedly from going out of business. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so these three, sorry, this one, and this one, these are right. This is what the state is testing you on. And I disagree. This is not true. It is not right. They're calling this a business life cycle is depression, inflation, recession, expansion. They're mixing up these three. I fact-checked all of this because I was like, that's not right. Yeah, but so focus on what I said. And then I'm sorry, but if you are like studying the game kits or whatever I have for the state test, this is the terms and the order that they will sadly be testing on. Okay, that's where we're gonna leave off with that. And let's do something else that's a little bit funner. I kind of feel bad that you guys are sitting here listening to me the whole class, but you're getting points for it, so you know that's plus. All right, okay, so I'm just gonna show you guys some videos, and then I'm gonna try to leave you guys some time to make sure that I leave you like enough time to answer that. It's kind of like an AI chatbot checker that like sees how much information like you're getting from from listening to me. All right, I kind of thought this was interesting. I always tell people it's not really about turning in the assignment or doing the thing. It's about showing your good work ethic and your honesty and your integrity in classes. A lot of you guys think it doesn't matter, but it really does, especially because your teachers and your fellow like classmates, chances are they're going to be your bosses or your coworkers or a reference for you. And what you do in school and who you're becoming, it does matter. And a lot of times people just talk to someone and they'll just kind of get a feeling like, yeah, I really like this person, or I don't like this person. And a lot of it comes down to the character that you've built over time. So this guy's an influencer. I don't recommend his videos because he has bad mouth. But he talks about firing. He's like excellent with like business though. But he just says he fires every single person that isn't a good human being, regardless of how much money they make him, regardless of how good of an employee they are. If they're just a rotten person, you know, he kind of fires them. We're going to go through some of these things. All right, so we're going to show you guys some business ideas, and we're going to have the AI, I hope it listens to me, we're going to have it just ask you, was this a good product? Would you invest in it? Would you like to like go to a company that does this, or will you purchase this product? Yeah, I'm gonna just show you some videos. Hello. Maybe. Click. Try it again. One second. Okay. I think I got it working. I'm not sure. Anyways, so I was thinking of having you guys read this article. It's really interesting. Some of my classes, we were talking about different inventions, specifically the Neuralink chip. It was just very interesting. Apparently, they're having people play chess with each other with brains, and it was an interesting read. I don't think I'm going to require that, but it was definitely interesting to see where, with technology and innovation, if this is the direction it's going, as an economy, do we want to jump on board with that? Do we not? And like, how might we use this information to inform our business decisions? If that's the way business is going, I mean, I have a VR headset, but like, I don't even know how that would be to play chess with someone from your mind. Like, it'd be crazy. Okay, this business idea though, we're gonna have you guys just watch it, tell me what you think, just get inspired. Okay, again, I'm not promoting this guy's videos. It's just some of them are so interesting. It's kind of like cool. I do not recommend that you buy his business plans, because I have no idea what those look like. And I do not recommend that you spend any money in this class. But it's interesting. I kind of like the idea. I don't know. I know that like Thanksgiving Point has something similar to this for kids to go like unearth dinosaur bones and stuff in a couple different places. There's one place with water and sand, the other one, I don't know. Part of me cringes because it was like I was thinking about all the little kid germs and boogers and like stuff in there. And then part of me is like, y'all, this is actually kind of cool because everyone wants their kid to be able to, I don't know, touch grass, play in the dirt, you know. Um, I don't know about co-oping with like trampoline parks, like he said. I feel like that is the wrong crowd, and you don't want like sand all over your trampoline park somehow like intermingling. But it is a cool idea, sort of. Okay, I'm not gonna do that one. That one has language. Okay, I put like words for myself. So, like if it says entrepreneurship, just me, that is for me to watch, not you. That's for my kid. Okay, entrepreneurship. Okay, this one's kind of cool. I don't even know what to think about that idea, but I kind of want one. I don't know. Hold on. This is going way fast. Why did I share this one? Okay, let's see. I feel like the video changed since I did this one. Okay, so it's a toothbrush, and so they've got a little cute toothbrush thing for babies and the nose booger sucker. Um, yeah, what do you think about that? Sometimes I don't even know. All right, let's move on. You want my list? $32. I was selling it for $32, and it cost her, well, hopefully she's saying it cost her $3.20 to make the whole pack, I would assume. And selling it for 32. That's pretty impressive. That's good margins. Okay. What do you guys think of that? I'm curious if any of you guys have like played any of these games. I think my kid would absolutely love that, but that's just me. All right. Yes, I did fact check this one quickly, but yeah, I've seen a few ads as far as like articles pop up on this. Yeah, they're trying. I don't know if it's successful, but the idea is there, and AI can do a lot of things. We'll see. All right, I love that one so much because it was inspired by a real need, okay? So these complaints, these needs, these irritations, these like, this was so terrible, turn those into something good, and those are the best products. Because like some of these are good because you just get an idea, but a lot of the ones that I'm like showing you, especially from, I don't know, the first guy, they're good, but they're not like gonna be award-winning products that are really gonna make it because they don't have the heart. You gotta have a good why if you really want to see something. I kind of like that little prototype. It's a good idea. Some of you guys have great ideas, but you don't have the technology to do it, but your ideas are still valuable. So I don't want you to ever, how to put it, especially if I give you like crap, because I'm like, this isn't possible. Defend your idea. Do a little research. Show me it is possible. I will more than gladly let you, do that idea for a project or whatever it is, because some of these things are wild and just like really technological, but they're great ideas. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just make it better. DBA means doing business as. We're going to talk about LLCs just a little bit more, but we talk about them more in business management. In entrepreneurship, it's also important to talk about them. LLCs mean limited liability company or limited liability corporation. It's basically a way of filing your company so that it's its own person. So, all about pause or whatever it is, right? That's its own business. And it's like you've got you here and your business, it's its own person. It files its own taxes. Well, you do it for it. But it has its own bank account, does its own things. And like she was saying, you do want to have like kind of like just a general overarching company if you're kind of one of those people that you want to do a lot of things. And you can do business as, I don't know, Mike's Repair Shop and as, chicken fingers, whatever, right? You got a bunch of different things, but you can have this big kind of like main business doing business as or DBAing a bunch of other different businesses. But that way it's an LLC and it's limited liability, which means if you get sued, that it can only take what that owns. If you do this as a LLC, And then these other DBAs as LLCs, you can have multiple layers of protection, which is really good because you don't want to get your personal money ever like taken because of your business ventures. Okay, one last, I want to end on a really good one. That one's kind of, oh, oh yeah, this is a good one. I mean, it is literally a bug catapult. I don't know why they liked it so much. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, okay, it's been 47 minutes. You guys probably sped me up just a little bit. Let's do one last one. That one was kind of just really fast. Okay, I think we've watched enough videos for today. All right, okay, guys, you're gonna just answer some questions with this AI thing. Hopefully it will give you the points and stuff. If it doesn't work as expected and you did your best, it's getting close to the end of class, take a screen snipping or write down some notes or something as kind of like proof of that you did uh watch this and learn something hopefully from today. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. So yeah, sounds good. We'll see you guys.